This lighter is shit. It's not lighting anything, and I'm too lazy to open my new pack of lighters. I stole this lighter from my yoga studio, by the way. I hope I don't get fired. I hope they don't see this. Okay, maybe this doesn't want to be smudged today. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah. More importantly, I got this candle at the What's Your Zodiac pop-up in New York. It was so dope. It was like an installation of art for each of the 12 signs, and this is a soy massage candle, and like you can take the wax and like put it on your cuticles and use it as massage shit. Oh, it already smells so good. Okay. Back to regularly scheduled programming. I need to check the dates for this. I'm really bad with dates, guys. I'm the worst numerically based astrologer in the entire world. So I have to check the dates for like all my weeks ahead. Hey guys, it's Maren. If we haven't met yet, nice to meet you. I'm barely in the frame, so let me scoot back here. This is the weekly astrology tarot forecast for the week of September 8th through the 14th. So we're going to start out with the tarot, do a spread. I'm going to use my favorite tried and true Dark Angels tarot deck. I have not been using this for a minute because I'm in a tarot and astrology class where we're using the Rider-Waite-Smith, but this is my heart and soul tarot deck. I got this at a little metaphysical shop in Houston when I lived there when I was like 18. Like, it was the first tarot deck. No, actually, I was gifted the Marseille tarot deck by a friend. This was the first one I bought for myself and really, really resonated with. So we're going to start out with the Celtic cross for this, then we'll look at the astrology for the week ahead, and finally we'll look at the Work Your Light Oracle deck spread for, you know, guidance, tying it all together. I can already feel the difference between this deck and the Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, this is just like so much less PC and much more like really, really honest. I mean, they're both amazing for different things, but this one really resonates. So, I've used this card so much. It definitely has my like Dark Night of the Soul energy written right over it, because during this really tough 2-year part of my life, I would pull a tarot card every day from this and just learn the cards basically that way, really have my intuition sparked through that. So I'm going to draw out the Celtic cross here. Oh my god, can you hear that? Someone in my building is a fucking opera singer, I think, and sometimes you can hear her like singing shit. Again, so many major arcana cards. I'm really into it though. So the first card we have representing the situation at hand, we have the Hanged Man reversed. So this really beautiful Hanged Man card, which looks like, I mean, it just looks like a dancer. Like, I love this deck. It's so beautiful. The Hanged Man has to do with, in general, inversions and reversals, sacrifice of something in the material for something intangible. Usually has to do with, it's sacrifice, but it has to do with like Jesus on a cross is a good example. Like, he gave up like life in order to having much more larger spiritual implications. So, with it inverted, the inversion is inverted. And I think that we have to be careful this week of not self-sacrificing ourselves for some sort of martyrdom thing that we're going for here. We have to be careful this week not to dive into subconscious childhood patterning and instead make conscious decisions not to martyr ourselves, not to self-sacrifice, and instead to make really clear what is dream and what is reality. This card represents Neptune, and Neptune can have the tendency of being delusional, so that is something to keep in mind for this week. The second card that we had crossing that is the Eight of Wands. I really actually love what this Dark Angels book has to say, a little guidance for every card. It's like spiritual guidance. It's not just a delineation. It says, energy must be conserved. If all is wasted, all is lost. So with the Eight of Wands coming up, I think that we have a tendency to pour out our energy all towards someone. We have the tendency to really remove the boundaries about what is appropriate and what is being asked of us. And we have to be careful not to completely deplete our cup in hopes that someone will notice us or that we'll get recognition, and instead ask ourselves, why are we going so far out of our way in order to receive some type of validation that is not in our best interest to even go after? The third card we have is the potential for the situation, and we have the Seven of Wands, but reversed. It's so interesting that we pulled the Eight of Wands and then the Seven cards reversed for the potential for the situation. The Seven of Cards in general indicates a situation where we can go after something alone, or that it's brave to walk this path by our own volition. With reversed, I think it's important that the potential for this situation is that we cannot go after this alone. The potential is that we have a partner on our path with us or someone to support us, but I think we have to be careful not to get caught up in trying to idealize someone else's approval, and instead to trust that whatever comes our way, whoever comes our way, will come our way without our extreme effort in pursuing them. The fourth card is our unconscious reason for coming to this reading. And we have so many reversed cards. The Four of Cups reversed. I love the image on this card, one of my favorites. So the Four of Cups normally has to do with a fading of satiation or a fading of joy or being fulfilled. With it inverted, I think that we are learning how to be filled instead of being depleted, because that's what the normal card represents. We are actually being filled up. We just have to let this filling up come naturally. Like, we're looking to be fulfilled by another person, and we have to let this come naturally instead of letting ourselves be run dry over trying to get filled up by another person. This fifth card is about the recent past, and we actually have the Two of Cups. Interesting. So the Two of Cups has two people, united in full emotional togetherness here, in the suit of emotions to the partnership together. So you think that we have recently come out of some sort of relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic, but we have recently come out of some sort of duality that we're looking to get refilled, possibly for some unconscious projective reason. Pull the sixth card for some reason, so I just pulled it now. We have the Wheel of Fortune, which is the future card. This is an awesome card to be pulled as the future, because the Wheel of Fortune has to do with kind of random karma. It's more the Wheel of Karma than the Wheel of the game show, if you know what I mean. Like, it's much more about just like winning at something. It's represented by Jupiter in astrology. You get to win at something. Like, this is a really awesome card to be pulled up for the future manifestation of this. Like, literally something good is coming our way. Like, randomly, like, our karma is paying off, but it's not cyclical. This is much more a blast of getting what we want. The seventh card represents you, the person in the situation. And all my favorite cards are coming up. This is the Ace of Cups reversed. So the Ace of Cups ring reversed represents us, and it's really making it clear that we feel like we have an empty emotional cup. Like, we are kind of run dry and looking to be filled up by someone or something else. Eighth card is our influencer environment, and we have the Hermit. So with the Hermit coming up as representing our environment needs to be going within. It needs to be finding the answers through solitude and insight, and refining our actual environment will be the environment that provides us with the most information. So going within is probably the best situation rather than seeking out something. We'll get more fulfilled, and we'll probably attract what we need to attract if we do our own thing. The ninth card that comes up is representing our hopes and our fears. And we have the Justice card, which another beautiful card here. So what we want to get out of the situation is balance and equilibrium with someone. We want to feel at peace and like there's justice literally that's going on. Our fear is that we will be overwhelmed with an out of balance dynamic, with an out of balance relationship, or some type of just irrational relating to another party where our energy will be sucked drier than it already is. The outcome of the situation here is represented by the Seven of Pentacles reversed, which has a little boo-boo on it. So the Seven of Pentacles upright has to deal with someone losing their material possessions or losing their sense of security. But with it reversed, we're actually gaining a sense of security in an unconventional way. So the outcome of this interaction of us this week is one of gaining security and gaining possessions that we desire in order to feel grounded, but it's not coming the way that we expect it, and it's not coming in a way that we can with ourselves go after. We have to sit and be receptive to it. So with that overall, we're definitely looking to get our cup filled this week, and we're looking to go after someone to do it. But the best way to actually do that is to go within and let that vibration be refined in order to attract that in a less effortful, more magnetic way. So we'll put away these lovely cards here and look at the astrology for the week. very difficult to put away cards with really long nails. My nails are fucking awesome. There's like a snake running across them. I got them for my birthday. I'm really into them. I live above a non-toxic nail salon and they do amazing nail art, like so awesome. They use like non-harmful products. And the other half of the reason I go there is because celebrities go there. It's like a secret spot. And so I just go to eavesdrop on like some random influencer that I don't know exists, but she has her publicist with her and they're talking about how they're about to miss their flight to Dubai or some shit. So onto the astrology. So starting out on Sunday, September 8th. Sunday the 8th, the moon is in Capricorn. The moon is in its exile in Capricorn. It is having its significations of comfort and safety and nourishment. Be a little troubled by Capricorn significations of material success and cold structure. So it's also conjoining Saturn. So it's an even more sobering day, especially the early part of Sunday the 8th. The mood is really of sobering reality. The Sun-Jupiter square might bring our mood up or our expectations a bit higher. We might believe that wherever the reward is outweighs the risk of the fears that we're having for the beginning of the week. With the moon joining the south node though, watch out, like look before you jump into past patterning. Watch out before you look for a reward out of doing the same thing over and over again. And this really might speak to us trying to go after someone that we know, like we've tried this before, and that going after and like hoping and pining doesn't work. Monday, September 9th, the moon is void for the rest of its time in Capricorn, meaning it doesn't make any major aspects for the rest of its time in that sign. Until it enters Aquarius this afternoon. So I'd put off plans for Monday until this afternoon, but with the sun opposite Neptune, the sun in Virgo will oppose Neptune in Pisces. Don't expect like optimal productivity or to get shit done that really needs to get done. Expect more to find insightful activity to balance out a sense of fatigue or something that's more spiritually inclined, that is more illuminating in this sort of higher dimensional way. I would say Monday's a good day to like go to a sound bath or get a massage or something like that that's more internal. Definitely speaks to this week being one of going within to find that energy without. So Tuesday the 10th, there are no major aspects on Tuesday besides a moon-Jupiter sextile late that night past midnight. So this day really continues on this vibe of being on like a Neptunian wave of having to go within because things are just confusing on the external. This week starts off on a sobering yet confusing note. So stick to your value structures and what you know makes you feel good. Go within, do the meditation practices, do your spiritual practices, and don't look for an external result to make sense because it probably won't. Wednesday the 11th, the moon continues through Aquarius, not really making any major aspects, but quietly drawing us to consider new and profound thought structures, maybe getting us to think in a new way about the result that we want because our old ways aren't working. Whether I'm getting the feeling it's a person, I'm getting the collective insight that the viewership is really talking about one person that we're each kind of like looking at. Consider new mental paradigms, consider new ways to look at what we're trying to fulfill emotionally, and watch for a tendency to go over the top because there is a Mars-Jupiter square. So it might seem like, ooh, this action will get me right where I need to be. This action is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. Maybe consider being open-minded into what you can expand into and operate in yourself instead. Thursday the 12th, the Mars-Jupiter square goes exact. So this build up towards wanting us to put 110% over what we want to grab, just make sure that's worth your time. Make sure that it's really worth the effort. You know, the tarot, I mean, I'm just astounded every week at how the spread aligns with this. But the energy of the Hanged Man, of putting yourself as a martyr for what you want to go after, be careful with Mars, Jupiter square, and this Neptune energy opposing the Virgo sun. Be careful that you are not really overextending yourself, like shockingly putting yourself out there in like a laughable extent towards something that you don't even know is going to be a return on investment, or this other person doesn't even know who you are really. Like, be careful that you're not overextending yourself to try and get like victimized pity to get something through that way. Like, go after something tangible or put your effort towards like a video game or like winning something literal with this Mars-Jupiter square. The Pisces moon will sextile Uranus, so open up to inventive opportunity. Open up your focus broad enough to see a different total paradigm going on. Like, get your head out of your own ass of trying to attract someone that might not even like know you exist, to be honest. This week has a lot of delusional possibility in it, just putting that out there. Also has a lot of beauty in it if we instead go within. Friday the 13th, there's a new moon. There's a new moon like late Friday night, early Saturday night, basically. So Friday night, Saturday morning, there's a Pisces new moon. And this new moon has this opposition scissoring going on between planets in Pisces and Virgo. There's this like X of scissor going on, basically. So problem solving with the linear mind probably is not the way to go. Will probably lead to resistance and like trying to get and trying to perfect. Don't erupt in self-pity if this ends up not working for you, because things are not moving linearly. My watch tells me I've hit my move goal today as I sit here. Observing all angles and simply thinking about vibration and adopting an intuitive release of control may allow for ease and a really beautiful culmination for this full moon instead. Let this be a release of like an ego death of some sort. Let this be a release into the universe of what you want to get. Let this be a release of past vibration. Let this be an adoption of a more tranquil, accepting route to manifestation rather than a forcing things to be in the linear fashion that you want. On the 14th, Mercury enters Libra, asking us to consider where our mental ideas and ideologies need more of an equilibrium or our conversations need more balance, followed by Venus coming home into her domicile, her rulership of the sign of Libra. Venus rules Libra. So she's coming into her domicile of relational harmony, which is further drawing our mind into how can we find a more balanced relationship with others. I think we will really realize where either earlier in the week where we really put ourselves out on a limb for someone in like an embarrassing way, or where we almost did and we're like, I caught that and now I'm looking for balance. That's what's happening in the end of this week. The moon enters Aries that night though, on Saturday though, so that'll quickly oppose the planets in Libra, asking us to get clear about our boundaries, about valuing balance rather than overextending or depending on someone in like a weird, like out of balance, like do you do everything for me or I do everything for you. That's the tendency in the beginning of the week. The end of the week, we really see like, whoa, that's not gonna work. So this reflects the card so clearly. Like we need to make sure that we find the balance within to attract the balanced relationship on the external. So now we'll pull a head, body, heart spread from the Work Your Light Oracle deck and see what guidance the cards have. So head, body, and heart. Little trifecta. I already like these. For the head card, we have Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. And I'm actually reading in the book what this says because I don't pull this card very often. I think I actually pulled it last week in the reading, but I had to look it up as well because I'm not familiar with it. It says to activate this card, to hold the card on your heart and say, Beloved Anna, thank you for laying the foundations for the divine plan. May the seeds of light within me be revealed, and may I surrender to my part of the divine plan. Okay, this makes total sense. Anna represents the quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a life of service. One person's part is not, we each have a seed of light within us that we incarnated to share. Anna is gathering us to remember and surrender to our part of the plan. So even though our minds really might want this plan with someone or something to work out in a specific way this week, it's learning to surrender to the divine plan and know that once we find our ideal vibration within without any external result, that is when we don't even care about the external, but it comes anyway. Seeding the light, making the roots the strongest part of our intention, not the end manifestation, which is just like a cherry on top. Like it's really holding that emotional vibration within that brings us the most joy. The card we pulled is the transformation card. Things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. So for these activation cards, they come with prayers, so I'm liking to read them. I allow myself to receive the deepest healing and transformation for change to happen at a cellular level. So there's an energetic shift of some point. You may need to review your relationship with your body, perhaps even shifting your diet or exercise regime or getting energetic healing support. So I think that physically this is asking us to, again, treat ourselves the way that we want to be treated, whether that's moving more or moving less, either bringing in more activity or more recovery. Thinking about, instead of looking for that energy outside of ourselves, to even embody on like a physical level what we're looking emotionally. Like if we're looking for excitement, maybe we do like cardio. If we're looking for more listening and more love from someone, maybe we do the same for ourselves and take things a little easier, learning to be our own best friend physically.
card, we have share your voice. Come out of the cave, persecution, expression.
I think that this is talking about sharing our feelings and sharing where we are before it's perfect. In Virgo season, we can have a tendency to not want to share we don't want to share our journey until it's like the end result is perfect. I think that this is asking us to, even when we're confused and considering overextending ourselves and considering really putting it all on the line for another situation that might not get us where we want to be, I think this is asking us to accept our vibration where we are and opening up about our vibration where we're at, in order to then have the acceptance weave into the pure vibration of love that will then attract what we want. So first step is simply opening up about where we are maybe fragmented or looking or projecting, or just opening up about wherever we are and saying, I am here, I am expressing love and gratitude for where I'm at, and I am eager to continue on. And with that continuation, yet the acceptance of where we're at, that is where the magic happens of the vibration shifting and then stepping into what will then attract the situations externally that we want internally. So this week really asks us to find the equilibrium within when our cage really is being rattled with desire and expectation and perfectionism and a grabbing nature, and saying that in the midst of this extreme like rupture, that is where I find my most clarity. It's in the midst of the crisis, the emotional turmoil, that we find the most peace, and trusting that that peace, if we can have that here and now, will result in that external, beautiful manifestation of fullness of the Seven of Pentacles reverse, basically. So I hope this was helpful. If you did find it helpful, like, subscribe, do all the things to let me know it was. I do offer private astrology consultations down below and would love to read for you. And I will see you in the next video.